Hello, welcome to Krafting Kitty. My name is Erin, and it's Saturday, so it's time for my weekly roundup. What is a weekly roundup? Well, my weekly roundup is basically where we go through my weekend crafting, and sometimes other things, but I didn't read much of my book again, so we're not going to really talk about that, but I need to get it back on my priority list, so I'm trying. I have a couple of finished objects, but I don't remember which bag they're in. So we'll just get to them when we get to them. So let's just start with my whips. I continue to work on my boho chic bag from Cinnamon Stitches. This is going to be one of the prizes for the Krafting Kitty Creator Spotlight. The creator of the month is Cinnamon Stitches, Miss Jennifer. So we are sharing projects we make from her patterns or tutorials, and it's any tutorial she does, even if she didn't design it herself. So anything works. Yeah, so I've got my 3 panels done. I need to so I'm watching her tutorial, but after she makes these, she makes the lining. I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to make up the bag and then I'm going to make the lining to go into it. So I need to kind of get to the part where we seam it together, do the handles, and then make the lining, and it should be done. I should have no problem finishing that for next week and for the giveaway. So yeah, that's that. Remember, you've got until the 30th of April to get me your makes, so you can put them on Facebook, you can put them on Instagram using the hashtag KK Creator Spotlight 423. And if you don't have either Facebook or Instagram, you can go ahead and email me at kraftingkitty@gmail.com and I'll get your entries that way. I am still a touch behind, but if you have put it through Instagram or if you've emailed me, I should have responded. If you're in the Facebook group, I got through a good chunk this morning, but I'm not done. So I do know I have to go back to that. So if you've done it through Facebook, don't fret. I will get to you. If you've emailed me and I haven't responded, then I haven't gotten it. I did check my junk just in case something got, marked as spam or something. I don't know why Gmail does what it does sometimes. But yeah, so if I haven't responded and you've done it through Instagram or email, reach back out. Okay, let's move on to, let's do Sophie since she's sitting right here. Okay, so she's completely oh no, my chair's on top of it. Okay, she's completely disconnected from the yarn, so I thought it was a good time to show her. I have finished the cursed bobble rounds and done the next, which is like a, I don't know what she's calling it, like a petal, like a something. So I'm working on it. I think I chose the wrong color here, but I'm going for it. I'm not going to rip it out. But there we go. So I've done that bobble round, this petal round, and then it looks like I'm going to have kind of a normal round, and then we go back and we do something else to the flower. I'm not entirely sure. I'm doing this one row at a time. I had a lot of fun with these cables. They're kind of like the crossover stitch that we did with that pillow for things we're making Thursday. So here we go. She's trucking along. Proof of life on Sophie. Here she is. She is gigantic. And I don't know how big it's going to be at the end. Since we haven't seen her in a while, I'll do the quick rundown. I don't have a plan for her. I'm using scrap yarns. All my scrap 4-weight yarn is headed for Sophieville. Actually, I shouldn't say all. I did pull out, I had like a bright sunshine yellow, and I went to put it in, and Brian was like, oh no, that doesn't work. So I set that back aside. We'll see if it works later as like the colors shift, because I'm starting to run out of the scrap. So these are just bigger partial chunks left over from other projects, and I'm using it all up. So I am just so excited to be using that scrap yarn to make something so pretty. But that does mean there's some parts where like she might have planned the little like petals and things that all have the same color, where that's not totally lining up for me, but I don't care. I think it looks nice, and it's just for me, so it doesn't matter. The other thing, oh, that's Sophie's Universe. It's a KAL from, was it 2015? It's a number of years ago, but yeah, it's still trucking along. The rounds are getting longer and longer, so it is taking me longer. And plus, as we discussed last week, I don't like bobbles. I just don't. So that took me a while to get through those bobbles. But what's not taking me very long is my newest sock. So I am again using the Crazy Sock Ladies Vanilla Sock Tutorial on 9-inch circulars. This time, I personally prefer shorty socks. So I'm trying 2 experiments. I've moved down to a US 2 needle. So I'm using a US 2 ChowGoo 9-inch circular. And I'm trying to, I did a 10-row 1x1 rib, and then I did 20 rows for my cuff before I started the heel flap. So 20 rows before the heel flap. Just, I'm trying to dial in where's my sweet spot for my personal preference on socks. So I am really enjoying the number 2. So I think Linda, I'm with you that the number 2 is going to be my preferred sock, but I will try a US 1 just so I can say I've done it. So the other difference here, I am using the small version. So her pattern, she uses a US 1. Since I'm doing a larger needle, I went down to the smaller because I'm like right on the edge in the sock sizing. Her small goes up, like her small ends at my sides and her medium starts. But if I'm using a slightly larger needle, you know, things will shift. But anyway, here we go. I am to the foot part. So I've made my cuff, I've made my leg, I've done my heel flap, my turn, and my gusset. And I am like 1 or 2 rows into the main body of the foot. I am using Universal Allegro yarn that Ray from Ray's Yarn Addiction gifted me at Christmas time. So yay, I'm excited. And this is, oh, I really like this yarn. So I'm so glad I had picked up some when it was on clearance from Premier myself. So the funny thing about this yarn is I had gone on Premier's website when it was on clearance and bought one of every color. And they had canceled one of the colors. And I was like, oh, bummer. But oh, well, it happens. And then I opened Ray's present and she had sent me, unknowingly, she didn't even know I had bought that yarn. She sent me the color that they had canceled. It was just the universe speaking. So yay! I'm excited. That's coming along nicely. I think for next week I'll still be working on the foot portion. But that's okay. I'm having fun with it. So, the other project I have to show you here is my... So, we had a bit of a problem with the vacuum cleaner meeting my project bag, and it sucked out some of my yarn for this project. So, that's why this is a bit of a mess here today. I think that goes there. I still haven't sorted it all out. So I've started the next side of the raise on my Stephen West Twists and Turns MKAL. So here's the raise for this side and here's the raise for this side. So this side we do slightly different. And instead of knitting, he wants you to purl constantly. My tension is much looser when I'm purling all the time. So I am a little concerned that my rays on this side are going to be slightly bigger than the rays on this side, but we'll see. It'll all work out. So I finished that ray and I've started the twisted rib for this first kind of twisted rib section. So progress is being made. I like it. I'm having fun with it. And yeah, we're trucking along. At some point, this will be completed. Oh, what is going... This is just a mess with that yarn getting sucked out. Brian felt so bad. He was like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't even know the yarn was sticking out. Oh, this tote bag I made myself. This is a Erin Original. This sock bag is from Miss Bridget at Queen's Crafts by Bridget. It's one of her larger sock bags. I love this style bag. It's perfect. I can just put it on my wrist and knit, knit, knit. Of course, that's not how you actually knit. I've been knitting for 30 years, so I should be able to mimic it better, but whatevers. But yeah, it is perfect. I got my yarn, I got my needles. I can fold up my pattern, shove it in there. I've got scissors, I've got a needle, I've got some stitch markers. Everything you need for socks crammed in that bag, and it works great. Highly recommend. Okay, let's see what else I have here. Okay, so I'm going to do that blue bag last. I got 2 more projects to show you. This is my Paw Ply Yarn Company Advent project. I've been working away on that. This is the Lamina Wrap. This I'm using US 6 needles. These are really old boys. Yep, these are one of the first pairs my grandma gave me when I learned to knit. So I'm showing you the reverse side. Here we go. Here's the front. When I talked to you last, I had started this round, so I finished this lace pattern. We added day 3, which was the mistletoe affair. I like that name because it was so naughty sounding. So I finished that, and then I'm starting the next lace repeat. So there we go. We're trucking along. I really like how this is turning out. It's wonderful. So like I said, I'm using the colored yarn is the yarn from the Advent calendar from Danielle at Paw Ply Yarn Company. And the neutral I'm using is a Madeline Tosh DK that Brian picked out at the local yarn shop. It's called Dust Weaver. It's very nice, very pretty. I love the fabric it's making. The pattern calls for a fingering weight. I'm using DK. I upped the needle size, and I basically used the needles that the Madeline Tosh recommended, and I really like how it's turning out. So mine is going to end up probably a touch bigger than the pattern, but that's okay. It's supposed to be more like a wrap, and I really like it. So it's kind of a super wide sweater or a slightly narrow wrap, whichever way you want to think of it. But yeah, I am enjoying that. And the Dust Weaver has kind of a purple tint to it that I think it does play nicely with all of the hand dyed. So good job, Brian. Finally, I got to the bag with my finished items in it. But first, we're going to talk about my last work in progress. I am working on the new kid on the block baby blanket from BagODay. Here it is. I'm starting my third. Actually, no, I'm probably halfway done with my third pattern repeat. She uses she uses 2 yarns held together to make approximately a 4 weight on hers. I'm using Lion Brand Ice Cream Big Scoop. So I followed her stitch count, but I didn't, what am I talking about? I'm not using the same number of stitches as she's did. I used her calculation to make a length that I liked for a baby blanket. I like bigger blankets, so that's what it is. And we're going to just see how big it gets. I've got 2 of those big balls, and I'm working at it. I really like how this yarn is working up, but because this is a 3 weight, I'm also using a different hook. I'm using my 5mm. This is from the Yarness crochet hook set. I got it from Amazon. It's like 16-ish bucks for a big set of needles. Or not needles, hooks. It starts at like 2mm and it goes up to like 10mm. It's crazy. And yeah, so I like them. This was my car set, and I've just switched it to my inside set now because my car project is now a knitting project, which I am so close to finishing it. Chom said the day off school on Friday. If he hadn't, I think I would have finished the main body of the cowl and then just had the, there's another garter edge to do. But yeah, that is very close to completion. I am so excited about that. And I am embracing the mistake, and I think it's going to turn out lovely regardless. So, finished objects. Last week, I had said I made some scrunchies, and then that made me think of Rose from Rose Likes Crochet and Her Wings, which is scrunchies, headbands, and makeup bags. So I made this one, and I said I was going to make another scrunchie and 2 headbands, and I fulfilled that goal. I don't know how to go. So I made this one. I kind of tried to do, I don't follow a pattern for the scrunchies. I'm just experimenting with half balls, and I was making a scrunchie with my leftover Bernat Softy Chunky Tweed. And then I was like, wait a second, if I'm making scrunchies, I should make some for Rose. And I remembered I had this kind of orange and dark navy bluish Bears colors. I used it to make a beanie for a Bears fan, oh, probably 5 years ago. So I pulled the remaining ball I had left over, and I made 2 scrunchies. And yeah, like I said, this was, I tried to do kind of a granny style. I think it looks kind of cute. And then I made 2 headbands. Both of the headband patterns are from Unique Stitch Design. I will link them down below. All patterns will be linked down below. But she uses a sport weight of 2. This is a 4. It works. But it looks a little chunkier than it does on her. Like, I don't want to put it on my own head because I know I'm donating it, but I think it works as a headband. I think so. And then, of course, you just use those to tie it at the back. And then this one is also from Unique Stitch Designs. Again, on this one, she used a 2 weight, and she did ties. I tried to adapt it with the elastic there. Hers is not as wavy as mine, and I think it's because of the thickness of the yarn. But I do think it looks nice. I'm going to try to get a good view of that lace pattern there. I think it looks better when it's like on the I'll try to do it like this. Like, I don't want to be weird because, you know, hats and trying things on, but I think it looks better on your head. Can you see that at all? I'm just a weirdo. Okay, so those are my 3 finished objects this week. 2 headbands and a scrunchie. I will get that packed off and sent off to Rose. Actually, maybe not right away. I probably can sew up 2 makeup bags to put in as well. I'll see. Regardless, that's headed to Rose. If I do make some makeup bags, I'm not going to show them here. Maybe I'll snap some pictures, but I want to get them to her in time for the donation, and I don't want it to have to spill over into the next month because that can be a mess for her, I'm sure. Anyway, those are my projects. We have a birthday party to get to, so I'm not going to go through calendar for next week, but rest assured there will be things happening. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.